Hello and welcome everyone to the OVERDRIVE Digital Show. This is Rohit Paradkar. Now, this digital show is being aired live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube handles for both OVERDRIVE as well as CNBC TV 18. So, if you have joined us live, thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to the show. And you've already seen that we have quite a few things lined up today, but we are going to begin with an interview. And the person we are interviewing today is Mr. Bipul Chandra. He is the managing director at Ducati India. And because this is a live show, it gives you a chance to also throw some questions at him about Ducati, about their product lineup. So if you do have any questions about Ducati and its operations in India, do send them through the live channels, like I mentioned. So we will be taking questions across all these platforms. So without further ado, let's dive right in with the interview. Producer, can we please have our guest on the show? Hello, Bipul. Great to see you again.
Hello, Rohit.
And
Good evening.
unfortunately, as is the new norm, we have to meet digitally. We can't really meet face to face. Though I think you had given us quite a few opportunities, or we would have had quite a few opportunities to meet face to face, because almost every month Ducati seems to use. There is some launch happening ever since the BS6 transition. There's constantly some launch that is happening. I'm sure that you have quite a few things lined up for us in the future as well. But I'm going to come to the future lineup in a little bit. Without wasting too much time, I'm going to start with the questions right away. Now, some of these questions have been curated with all the questions that we've already got from our viewers. So some of them are coming in for the viewers. And like I mentioned, there'll be some live questions that we'll also take on this show. Now, excuse me for mentioning your competitors in the first question itself, but your compatriots at Aprilia or other brands like KTM, Triumph, and even Harley Davidson for that matter, they already have or are planning to launch small capacity mass market motorcycles in India, and maybe even look at exporting them out of India, make in India, and then send it outside of India. So has a similar thought ever crossed Ducati's mind, of making something small capacity? Because I remember there is a Scrambler 400 that you've tried your hands at as well. It never came to India though. So has any such thought ever crossed Ducati's mind?
Well, Rohit, business is a very dynamic situation, and so many thoughts and ideas keep on coming, and we keep on discussing them within our office. And I would not say that the thought of making a small bike would not have crossed the people at the Bologna head office. Well, at current situation at India office, we are not in a position to launch or plan any small bike. But I can just say, as a reply to your question, that business, as and when required, we will definitely be there. As of now, we are focusing on the big capacity bikes, which is our forte, and we are very happy bringing all the new bikes to our discerning Indian customers. However, there will always be a positive note to us, and if required, we'll definitely plan a small bike for Indian customers, Indian market as well. However, as of now, we don't have any plans at the drawing board level even.
Okay. So Vipul, just building on what you just said, like I said, you have had the Scrambler 400 in the lineup, and quite a few viewers have often asked us that despite the Scrambler being one of your best-selling models in India, why was the 400 never brought into India? Was it because of the restrictions that you have in terms of the policies and norms, or did you not see much sense in bringing the Scrambler 400 for the Indian market?
Here, when I joined Ducati India, post that we have not planned or we have not discussed this business of bringing the Scrambler 400 to Indian market. However, I would like to add that primarily the thought process behind the smaller capacity bikes from Ducati stable was on the grounds of the A2 license in many countries, which are 35 kilowatt kind of engines used primarily for the learners or the new riders. So that kind of situation has never come up into the Indian market as such. We don't have the concept of A2 kind of license over here. So probably that might have been one of the reasons why we never thought of bringing that bike to India. And since we in India, we have either a no license, learner license, and a full license. So looking at that situation, I think historically the decision would have been to continue with the line of what we have, what we can supply to globally all the markets, including India.
Right. To refresh the memory of our viewers, in fact, Bipul took over the reins of Ducati India only recently. Was it 2019, Bipul, if I'm not wrong?
First January 2020, and since
First
then
January
I have
2020.
been
Right.
dealing so many storms and tempests and all the
Absolutely.
friends of Yas and Amphan and Tokati or whatnot.
I completely agree with you. I can't even imagine, what kind of a position that would put you in. In fact, like Ducati, many other businesses have suffered quite a bit, and they continue to suffer in the current scheme of things. But Vipul, to ask you, what is your long-term strategy like? Of course, the immediate strategy or the immediate priority for you would be to sustain the business in the difficult times that we are all facing. But when we talk about long-term perspective, what is your long-term goal like?
See, long-term goal, we do not define or we do not discuss in terms of numbers or the rankings in the market. So I would not say that we wish to number one or number two, or we wish to have X percentage of market share. So that is not how we define. Our definition for long-term is how well we can give the markets, or how well we can serve all the markets into our global list. So whatever the newest bikes we have in the stable from Ducati, how fast we can bring them to the Indian market or any market we serve, how better we can give the after sales services to our customers, how better we can provide all the apparels and accessories to the customers as per their wish. So I think this is how we define our success, and I am sure till now Ducati India has been very, very successful in ticking all the right boxes, and we will keep on doing the good job this way. uh, all the importance you can understand being given to Indian market is whatever bikes are getting launched globally, they are coming to India within a very, very reasonable time frame. So just now we have launched the Street Fighter, which was first shown to the world in 2019 EICMA, I believe. So
Yes.
you see, 2019 EICMA, the bike was shown to the world, and in the month of May 2021, we are there in India, despite the pandemic and everything. So that shows our confidence onto the Indian market. That shows our commitment towards the Indian market, and that's how we wish to continue in the long-term market as well.
Right. So let me tweak this question a little bit, and again, just a quick reminder to our viewers, if you have any questions for Ducati India, right now would be a good time to send them through. And let me also remind you that a lot of you always say that, it's not very difficult for a brand like Ducati or any of these big premium brands to simply bring their, international lineup to the Indian market. No, that's not the case. It is a very difficult job. And hats off to Ducati for, really bringing in all their models in a very short period of time to the Indian market, so that the bikers don't have to keep waiting. But let me tweak the question a little bit more, Bipul, and let me ask you. So under your watch, what is your goal? Do you want to continue keeping Ducati a very niche brand in the Indian market, or do you aim to make it a little bit more accessible to a wider audience? Because Ducati has always been the premium, a slightly hard to get, brand. But now that you have brought the entire lineup to the country, or you continue to do that, would you also be looking at maybe making it a little bit more accessible for our audience, our market?
Well, if you consider the accessibility by terms of the touch points in the country, then definitely increasing the dealership network is onto our plans. But that's a very, very business oriented situation. Wherever we find that yes, we can have a dealership which can sustain itself by terms of business volumes and workshop volume, so we will try to find up a dealership over there. Currently we have 9 dealerships in the country. At this immediate moment, we are not looking at any addition to those 9 dealerships, but yes, as and when the business grows, we see the business case coming up, we will definitely add up to the dealership list in the future. So that is our definition for accessibility. As far as I understand, the accessibility defined by price points. So price points is something which is a very different question altogether. And we define the accessibility by giving the best of the bikes rather than looking at the price points. So that's why you will not see Ducati talking about price points. You will not see Ducati talking about discounts or these things, because we understand our customers deserve the best, and we always strive to give the best to the customers.
Okay. I'm also going to ask you a two-pronged question on this because it's very interesting when we speak to some of the other car brands from your group. We've all often heard them saying that we want to maintain a certain price point for our product so that it safeguards the premium quotient of that product. We don't want to make it too economical that it becomes way too common. But at the same time, we don't want to make it too difficult to achieve either. But we want to maintain that certain price bracket or a certain entry price point to safeguard the premiumness of the product. So what are your thoughts on this kind of a strategy? And to add to that, since I mentioned that since you're a part of a group that has so many car brands and Ducati being the only two-wheeler brand in the group, does the Volkswagen group or this group have any bearing on all the decision-making at Ducati, both internationally and in India? Or do you have a free hand, since you are the only motorcycle brand in the group? Do you have a free hand at how you want to go about with your strategy, how you want to implement them in different markets, including India, that you take control of right now? How does it work? Simply put, is Volkswagen just bringing in the money and then that gives you the financial muscle that Ducati always needed, or do your strategies have to be always aligned with that of the group?
Oh my God, I will have to count the questions in one statement what you asked for.
Okay.
So, if I understood all the points correctly and if I can reply to them, we are part of VW Group and we are very proud of that. VW Group has been very, very supportive of all our business endeavors. And Ducati is a profitable company, so it is not about VW Group bringing the money and then leaving Ducati do whatever it wishes. So VW Group has always been with us. They give us the guidance in the long-term business perspective. I would say that two different situations needs to be considered. So operationally, Ducati takes its own decisions. How we look at the market, what products need to be there, how the product development should go forward. So all these things we do it at Bologna. Obviously, at the senior management level, there would be discussions and meetings. I am not a part or privy to those meetings. So they would be showing the future of the Ducati bike product portfolio to the senior management at VW Group, and they would be having their own discussions. But as far as I understand and know, operationally we are standalone. We work under the guidance of VW Group. However, we are free to plan the market for ourselves. Second point, which is the overall group direction and dynamics. So we always follow whatever is defined by VW Group. So if VW Group has laid down certain corporate governance policies, we follow them to the T. If VW Group has certain environmental protection policies, we follow them to the last point. So whatsoever is a business strategy or a governance case, so that we follow as in line with the VW Group. So as we say in the management speak, the ESG, environment and social and governance. So this ESG gets defined by VW Group, and the operational part defined by it gets done by the Ducati. Now coming to the Indian operation, I obviously have a free hand to work in the best way possible for the Indian customers, for the Indian market, what is best for Ducati India, what is best for the dealerships of Ducati India. However, I am supposed to follow all the rules and regulations of the Ducati as such and VW Group in general. So I'm a part of the same group and I get governed by all those rules and regulations. So this is it. Now, what was other point? Probably I missed out something.
No, I think this is exactly what I meant. I mean, you also talk to us about making it accessible and increasing dealerships as well. So I think let's move to the question that has been on everyone's mind. We are also getting similar on the live show, live questions as well. So before we take those live questions, this question is obviously the one that even you would want to talk a lot about. What is Ducati India's model roadmap like in the coming months? What models are we expecting and when?
Oh, we are very excited. You can say that, or you can see that by looking at the happiness smile on my face. We are very, very excited to be here. In fact, 2021 is probably the year for Ducati India within our family itself, and Ducati also, because nowhere in the world there has been such a drastic change from the BS4 to BS6 kind of emission rules. So technically it is Euro 4 to Euro 5 world over. In India, we say BS4 to BS6 because in our two-wheelers category, there is no Euro 6 as such right now. So it's Euro 5 in Europe. So in a single stroke, as the date changed, we moved from BS4 to BS6, and at that point of time, we were not having any bike as such because the development was taking some more time. Now we have all the bikes with us, so we have started launching them in a phased manner. In fact, last year, if my memory serves me right, it was 26th of August when we launched Panigale V2 as the first BS6 offering into the Indian market. Since then, we have launched Panigale V2, then we have launched Scrambler 1100, then we launched Multistrada 950S, then Scrambler 800, and now it's Street Fighter V4 and S. So we have already launched so many bikes, and further in next couple of days, we shall be launching the Diavel and the Panigale V4 family. So the bikes are already on the way. In fact, it got delayed because of the so many deep sea, mid sea, high sea situation, whatever, because of the we get our shipments from Thailand factory. So it got delayed. Otherwise, we would have already launched the Diavel and the Panigale family in, or we would be doing in next couple of days. So that's one thing with us. Next month, by the end of June or so, by the beginning of July, we look forward to another newest bike from our Ducati lineup, that Multistrada V4. So that's a completely new bike. We are very, very excited to have that bike in our family here in India. Then we shall be having the Super Sport facelift. We shall be having again the new Monster, then the Hyper Motard. So our lineup is full. Actually, till October, we are having the new launches. And only it is after October that our entire BS6 lineup would be complete. So every month or alternate month, we are having some bikes, and it's a very exciting time for everyone who is connected with Ducati, whether directly with Ducati India and the dealerships, or as our customer, or simply as our well-wisher, and people like you, obviously.
Absolutely. In fact, interesting of you to mention the Multistrada V4. We've all been waiting for it, and it's not just another Multistrada with a bigger engine. This time there is radar-guided technology on it as well. Will that technology come to India? Because we've seen
Yes,
in the
yes.
car world, especially, everyone's on the fence. Some people are bringing it. Some brands are still shying away from it. But on the motorcycle front, even in India, this would be the first bike to get it.
Yes, yes. In fact, globally, it's the first bike to have this kind of technology.
Correct.
And as I said, Ducati head office, Ducati Bologna, DMHV of what we say, Ducati Motor Holding, it stands committed to the Indian market, and whatever we bring to the global customers, that shall be coming to India. We are very clear with that. So the radar technology will be coming to India, that I can assure you. In fact, the bikes are already under production, and very soon, in next, if I can give a timeline, next 30 to 40 days, we shall be having the bikes on Indian roads.
Oh, that would be
So
brilliant. That would be brilliant. We are really looking forward to ride it, and let's
yes,
hope that
same here,
the
same here.
I, I can imagine. I think let's start taking the live questions. We have a few
Mhm.
good questions as well that have come in from the viewers. Let's begin with the question that is sort of a continuation about what I asked you about being a part
Mhm.
of the Volkswagen Group. So a lot has been said about the Volkswagen 2.0 strategy in the Indian
Mhm.
market. Is Ducati a part of that strategy at all? Though I know it's purely to do with the Indianization of their global forms. But still, business-wise, does Ducati feature anywhere in the India 2.0 strategy?
Well, this applies for Mr. Nitin Joshua, and uh, Ducati as a organization stands alone, or it works alone. So we are part of the VW group. We are defined by the VW policies. But if I talk about my organization, then I stand as a separate entity into India, and VW stands as a separate entity. So VW 2.0 is something within VW and not for Ducati. So that is VW Cars India, or the VW Skoda VW, Skoda Auto VW Limited, what we talk about it. So that's a separate strategy. That's a separate game plan for them. And what we do, what bikes we bring in the Indian market, how we plan the strategy, how we execute the strategy, that is something different for us. So a small answer is no. Ducati India is not part of VW 2.0 strategy.
Okay. Now, one other question. I know we are talking too far out into the future, but I'm sure you have heard some buzz about it. Lamborghini recently announced that they are going to go electric. A lot of the brands within your own group are also talking electrification plans. Is Ducati talking about electrification anywhere? I hope not anytime soon, but is still Ducati talking about electrification anywhere?
See, at heart, we are engineering company. So engineers can't sit idle. They have to keep on doing something. So while I do not know about the exact status of the project going on in Italy, but I'm sure they would be working on these things, because somewhere you have to make a start. So they would definitely be doing something which is yet not public. I cannot comment, as I do not know, honestly. It is there is no harm or no shame in saying that I do not know something. So I cannot give you a timeline about when Ducati would come out with electric bikes. But yes, I understand, as part of the automobile family, we cannot keep ourselves away from the recent developments, whether it is on technology front or environmental front, on or on any other thing. So there would be some projects going on, definitely, that I can assure you. And at the appropriate time, Ducati would announce the intention to launch a bike as and when required, and actually Ducati will launch a bike as and when needed or ready in the right earnest.
Okay. So I think those are the only two live questions worth taking right now, because everything else is about when is the Panigale coming, when is the Multistrada coming, and you have already answered those. But before I let you go, Bipul, I'm just going to ask you a couple of personal questions on the show. MotoGP, Ducati is looking stronger than ever in the 2021 MotoGP season, and not just your factory riders, but even the likes of Zarco are looking really good right now. So who are you rooting for? Personally, I'm not asking Mr. Chandra, the MD of Ducati India. I'm purely asking Bipul, the biker and a MotoGP fan. Who are you rooting for from the four Ducati riders?
Actually, I say that I have been mighty impressed by Zarco. In past couple of races, I have seen he has done wonderfully well. No doubt, Miller and Pecco and everyone is wonderfully good, extremely good. Miller has been he has given us back-to-back victories. So that's an amazing kind of result, and we are looking very, very strongly and purposefully at the Sunday race. So we hope to win that as well. But yes, in past couple of races, I would say the way Zarco has come up, that's amazing. So that's the rider I would say. I would like to see Zarco at P1 someday.
Right, great. Bipul, let's also get our editor Bertrand D'Souza on board. He also has a few questions for you. So before we let you go, here's bringing on Bert. Producer, could we have Bert on the show as well, please?
Hi, Bipul. Good evening.
Hi, Bert. Good evening.
Hi.
How are you?
All good, all good. I hope things are all well at Ducati as well, and with your team as well. Everyone's keeping good health.
Yes, we all are well.
Perfect. Bipul, I had a question for you. You've come from a marketing background as well. You've handled marketing at Ducati before this, and now you're handling Ducati at large. But what's the kind of sense you get from consumers on the ground? Because you had very, very close interactions with them as head of marketing. You've been in that role before. Interacted with consumers. We've seen you riding at the track with them, and having a great time along with them. But what's the kind of sense you get from them? Which direction are riders heading towards? Is it the super sport? Is it the ADV? Is it the more street commuter style motorcycles? Where are consumers heading towards?
Okay. So first of all, Bert, there is a small clarification. Before taking up this position, I was head of sales actually.
Sales, sorry, yes.
No worries. Because in our business, sales and marketing are actually two sides of the same coin. You cannot keep one away from each other. And you have rightly commented that I have been there on the track. I have been on the off-road sites also with the customers. And I love talking to the customers and the riders, because unless we know what they are thinking about, and what they wish, we cannot give the right kind of feedback to the factory and to the engineers for making the best of the products. So it is difficult to actually quantify in which direction customers are moving, because when I talk to them, I feel that there is an equal or equitable, I would say, kind of interest in all these things. So while racing is slightly constrained in India because of the lack of the infrastructure, there are just a couple of racetracks in India, and I wish we have a lot more racetracks I have heard of so many discussions, one racetrack coming up in your background in between Bombay and
Yes.
Pune, but I have yet to see the light of the day. So if that comes up, that would be a wonderful addition. So we desperately need to have one racetrack somewhere in the central India or East India, because we have so many customers from eastern side of the country. In fact, I personally know a couple of riders who fly down from Guwahati to Delhi.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That
So
is amazing.
yeah, and not only one rider. There are group of riders who fly down from Guwahati or other cities from the northeast to Delhi just to have a ride at the BIC. So that way, I would say that that has a very constrained kind of customer base, because people feel limited by the availability or unavailability of the racing tracks. ADVs are a very, very interesting chapter because it does not require a constrained space as such. So people are definitely handling, or they are welcoming this kind of business with open arms. We have seen a great growth in this department, ADVs. In fact, the way our 950S has come up, that's wonderful. Even today, we don't have bikes with us because all the bikes have been sold. Just now, we have received a shipment of the GP livery 950S, and again the customers have shown amazing level of response to that. So ADVs, we are looking at ADVs in a very, very interesting way, and multistrada V4 would be a further addition to that. And heritage are also not to be left behind. I'm very happy with the way Scrambler 800 and 1100 families have shown their sales figure despite all the current situations. So while we do not see, or there is a feeling that the market is not growing of the super bikes, premium bikes category, that we also see, but the kind of response from the riders we have seen, that's very heartening and that's very encouraging, and that's what keeping us motivated to bring all these bikes into the market.
Super. That's really wonderful to hear that there is such a mix, of motorcycles and enthusiasts who are looking at various categories of motorcycles and not just dedicated to, one branch of motorcycling alone. So it's great to see
Yes.
that. I had another question for you, and which kind of resonates with what you mentioned earlier also, and that's to do with not circuit riding but racing necessarily. How much of an influence, in Europe, racing plays a very, very influential role in, in sales decisions for that matter. But in India, how much of a role does racing actually play on the minds of consumers, people looking for a particular motorcycle? Does it influence the decision what they want to buy?
In a way, it definitely influences the mind of the customer. See, there are a couple of points to it. Ducati is one of those very few companies, I would say, and I'm happy to say that the dealerships, all the dealerships of the Ducati India are very, very proactive in this way. So we even have test drive vehicles from Panigale family, and customers get a chance to ride this bike as a test ride vehicle at VIC or any other designated racetrack. So when customers get a feeling of the bikes in the actual condition, it definitely primes them for making their decision in the fastest time possible and in the best way possible. So racing, and not to say that the imagery of the racing bikes does not impact us positively. So that's also a very important point. When people see that yes, these bikes are capable of doing 300 plus kind of speed, obviously on a racetrack, I wouldn't suggest these things on a public road. So when people see that these bikes are full of technology, the electronics, the capability of the bike, so even if they are not riding by themselves on the racetrack, when they look at the performance of these bikes, it leaves a very, very positive impression on the mind of the customers, and that probably inspires them even to come into the superbike family. So they may not be buying a Panigale, they may be buying a Scrambler. That's fine. But at least we are getting people added into the superbike family, which is important for us as an industry. Not only for
Correct.
Ducati, but for the entire industry, we require much more people coming into our family.
Yeah, I do. I hope to see a lot more activities then around motorsport. It's essentially, a lot more gatherings. We used to do a lot of these in the past as well, where, you got a bunch of people together and say, let's just watch the race of the weekend, the motorsport,
Yeah,
motoring community, motorsport community. And I think, of course, we're all looking forward to the pandemic and kind of, this waning off and coming together, being able to come together again to, enjoy these occasions. So let's
correct,
keep our fingers
correct.
crossed about that. I have a
We
final
are looking
question for
forward.
you as well, and this is also coming in from a viewer, Authentic Max has asked, or other, has there ever been any discussion with any Indian manufacturer as well for any collaborations of any sort for that matter? There have been quite a few other manufacturers who have been approached, and lots of associations that have happened, whether it was TVS Norton, whether it's Bajaj KTM. Has there been anyone who's approached Ducati for this?
At least in my knowledge, there has been no discussion. We stand tall within the VW group, and VW group has given us all the supports and blessings, and that's how we are continuing with this business. As and when, if there is a situation, if opportunity comes in for having a discussion with an Indian manufacturer, company would take up at the appropriate time. But as of now, to the best of my knowledge, my information, and my understanding, there has been no discussion, and no discussion is active also.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Vipul, for spending your time with us. I think we overshot it, but it was a wonderful conversation. Very engaging. Glad to know, and very eager to see the line of motorcycles coming. Especially, Rohit will agree with me on this Hyperstrada that you mentioned. That was one of the first motorcycles that I wanted to pick up.
Okay.
That was one of the first motorcycles I wanted to pick up.
Now it is no longer Hyperstrada. Now we have Hypermotard.
Motard. Now it's a Hypermotard. Yes. Yeah. So now I'm looking forward to buying that. Of course, in fact, Rohit was quite aware about this, but I wanted to pick up one before I actually picked up my Tiger. But now that it's coming up again, we definitely look forward.
We shall be happy. We shall be happy to give you the Hypermotard, and for Rohit especially, I wish him. I wish to give him the Multistrada V4 because he has already tried his hands at 950S. So after 950S, I think V4 is the natural progression for him.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that motorcycle, and that radar guided tech is something that I really want to try out.
In fact, now the point you have said, and although I know we have overshot, but said that still the radar is on the both ways. So it is not only it does not only lock you with the vehicle in front of you, but there is a blind spot detection also. So it gives you an indication if some bike is or a car or an obstruction is coming behind you also, wherein usually you have a blind spot in your rear view mirror and you can't see. So the technologies works both ways, in the front also, in the rear also. So that is something I believe in the context of a safe riding is very important, and that should appeal to the riders in Indian market as well.
Right. In fact, that's exactly what I am looking forward to riding, And Bipul, thank you so much for joining us. In fact, you have given a lot of our viewers a lot to look forward to, because from now until October, that's the festive season, there are a huge lineup of motorcycles that are all coming in from Ducati. The entire V4 family is going to be here. So Bipul, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on this show as well. And the image that we had been putting out on our social media before this interview happened, it was a very dashing image of you, Vipul, with the motorcycle in your leathers.
I saw that. Many thanks.
So I'm really hoping to ride with you someday. Once the situation is better, once we can again meet in person, I'm really hoping to ride with you, and I hope that time is not too far away. But thank you again for joining us. Thank you for all the answers that you've given us. And we are also rooting for Zarko. In fact, we interviewed him recently. We are rooting for Zarko. So let's hope that, Zarko or any of your other three riders bring home the title for you this year, because Ducati look like the favorites for 2021. And like I said, for the rest of the viewers and the bikers out there, there's a lot to look forward from Ducati. Bipul, thank you again. And I think we'll end this interview on that positive note.
Right. Thanks a lot, Rohit. Thanks, Bert, and the entire OVERDRIVE team. And special thanks to all the viewers, all the riders. With your support only, Ducati is what Ducati is. So keep rooting for us always. Many thanks to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, so that was Mr. Chandra from Ducati India, and I think he's answered quite a few questions today. And I know most of the common questions that we had, including me, was when is the Multistrada coming out? And like he said, within the next 30 to 40 days, the motorcycle should be here. So something to look forward to for all of us. But now let's bring back Bert and Sohini. Yes, Sohini is also here on the show. She was on the back end helping us get all these live questions from you onto the screen. So welcome back, Bert. Welcome, Sohini. And I hope I haven't kept you guys waiting for too long. Let's directly start off with the car news. Sohini has been waiting to read it all out for you.
Hi guys, good evening, and let me just, I'm very excited that today marks 1 year of this digital show. So thank you all for joining us every week without fail with all your interesting questions and keeping us, excited to bring you this content on a weekly basis. Do let me know if my internet connection is bad today because I seem to have some lag issues.
No, I think you're perfectly fine, Sohini, as of now. We can hear you clearly. But thank you also. You've been hosting this for a year now with us, and it's been a tremendous. It's done tremendously well. I'm glad to have brought these kind of stories to the live digital show and to be able to interact with so many of our viewers out there with all those questions pouring in. It's wonderful to actually be on this platform, and probably in the future, there's some way we can, further, enhance this. I don't know. Let's see. Let's give a hand at some an experiment with some new features, new functions, and see what we can do in the future as well. But thank you all of you all for continuing to support us. Everyone who's out there watching this and sending in your queries. Thank you for being there with us through this year, and let's hope we can carry this on for a long, long time to come.
Yes, very popular brand. In fact, Rohit, there were plenty of questions that came in for Ducati. But, before we jump into the news, let's quickly take a couple of our viewer queries, other questions as well. But the first one, we always seem to have this question about Skoda. Will Skoda be launching the Kodiaq and Karoq in 2021?
Well, there is definitely an attempt to do all of that in this year itself. But again, keep in mind, a lot of things were delayed. From what we know is that the Octavia will be coming very, very soon, just a couple of weeks away. I think we will have a lot more information about the Octavia, and you will see it coming out of the market. Followed by that, you'll have the Kushaq as well. They're looking very eagerly to launch that product into the market by the end of June. So let's just see, what happens and how they're able to proceed. But yes, we will have a lot more action coming up from Skoda in the months to come. So 2021 is going to be a fairly busy year for them and for the group as well. But yes, we will have more information for you on the Kodiaq and the Karoq 2021. Those are in the pipeline in any case. They will be coming out very soon.
All right. Here's a question from Kiran Pani. He wants to know if he slots his gear to manual mode regularly on the Polo GT TSI, will it be as fuel efficient as a TSI manual?
No, Kiran. Unfortunately, you won't be able to because you're talking about two different transmission systems at the end of the day, and you will not be able to take it, or rather not be able to get the same amount of efficiency as you would in a strictly manual transmission. That is not going to happen. So you will still, there will still be a difference in the kind of efficiency you get out of these two because of these two transmissions and the way they perform and the kind of functions.
All right. I think we did take Yash's question last week as well, but he wants to know what are your thoughts about people going in for the rebadging of cars like Toyota rather than the original ones.
I'm not sure. We are just trying to get my vote again and see, but yeah, this is the future. Let's accept the fact that this is the future. This was a global plan hatched several years ago, where manufacturers saw that there were cost efficiencies in cross badging products, in collaborations, tying up with various manufacturers, and then of course cross badging products because it reduced development costs. They were able to get out products to market faster and at more affordable prices. And development of a new product, a new car, for that matter, is a very, very expensive affair. And if several manufacturers can share this cost, then it makes it far more viable as a business. So that's what is happening globally. Now, it's not something that even I like, or not something that a lot of people like. But let's look at it from another perspective: is that you get a slightly better service experience from Toyota. The ownership experience that you get from Toyota is far more, I would say, is comprehensive. But is it more comprehensive than Maruti? No. Let's keep in mind Maruti and Toyota are some of the foremost runners year on year where JD Power customer service indicators are concerned. They're always at the very top of these indicators. And I've always maintained this stand that Maruti's service, quality and their responsiveness and the way they handle customers and the way They effectively make sure that while your car enters in at a particular time, it also departs the workshop at a promised time. It's very exemplary, and it definitely outshines even what the luxury premium car manufacturers in the country today can offer. So I think there is a lot of there are definitely advantages to both Toyota and Maruti coming together on this, and I think people will see the benefits of this rather than just arguing over the fact that, oh, this looks like a Maruti Baleno or a Brezza or whatever will come up in the future as well. There are a lot more benefits to this association than disadvantages.
All right. Rohit, question for you. Anup Moria wants to know any Benelli motorcycle launching in India this year, like the 302R or the 600i?
Well, we are not very sure as of now because Benelli has been going very slow with the BS6 updates. As you're aware, the Imperiale, the TRK and the Leoncino seem to be the only motorcycles that are available at the moment. But that also shows us that their engines are now BS6 ready. So it's anybody's guess. Given the current situation, I don't know, what kind of a move they would like to make. The 600i, like I said on the show a couple of weeks back, is an all-new motorcycle now. I'm not sure if that motorcycle is going to be available in India so soon. I think it will be 2022 by the time it arrives into India. But the 302R, I think, should be ready in its BS6 tune and should be available a little before the festive season begins, is what I think, is what my estimate is. So it should be here, but the new 600i may not arrive so early.
But will Hyundai bring the Kona 2021 to India, and will there be an increase in the driving range?
Well, Hyundai will bring the 2021 Kona eventually. May not be 2021, it will be 2022 possibly. But will there be an increase in the range? Yes, there are attempts at making that vehicle more efficient. But again, range is a factor of our driving conditions, and in India the driving conditions aren't too conducive for electric cars at this point in time. You need steady flowing traffic, and that does not happen all the time. And a lot of time is spent just standing and waiting in traffic. I come from Bombay. People in Delhi or other urban areas is where electric cars sell in higher numbers at this point in time. So yes, the range will get affected, but it is definitely a more efficient car. They are you guys already done this development, and they already the new Kona for that matter is certainly more efficient than the one it replaces. So yes, they will probably claim something. I'm not sure what the claim will be. Keep in mind, the last time this happened, when they first introduced the Kona in India, they kind of reached they had a conundrum, because the car went to ARAI for testing, and ARAI gave them some numbers, and Hyundai was a bit taken aback because they knew that those numbers were real-world figures and couldn't be achieved by a lot of consumers. Similar case situation took place with Tata and Nexon as well. But unfortunately, in this country, you have to give out numbers that the ARAI lists out for that manufacturer. You cannot publish your own test figures, your own test data, and unfortunately, it landed the few manufacturers in a bit of a soup. Hyundai, also notwithstanding, was one of them that were affected by this. But yes, there will definitely be some improvements to the range that will be there in the Kona.
All right, we'll take one last question before we run into our news section. With the lockdown and work from home scenario, are consumers jumping to higher segments as vehicles are more of weekend toys? What do you think? And which OEMs should or do tap this pulse?
With the lockdown work from home scenario, are consumers jumping to higher segments as vehicles are more of weekend toys? What do you think, and what OEM should do to tap this pulse? Sujashish, not really. With work from home, for that matter, in the first wave. Now, what's happened is effectively in the first wave, people are still spending money. People are still buying cars, maybe not new cars altogether, but at least second-hand cars, in the hope that when we kind of got out of the pandemic situation, or when things eased off after the first wave, they needed their own private or other private mobile solutions for that matter. So they were buying more of used cars, second-hand cars. That is what was happening. People weren't really jumping to higher segments as such. But yes, there was a fair amount of people still had a lot of disposable money at their hands, and they were definitely buying cars. But after the second wave, that has taken a back seat. People really aren't going out. The stance that most people are maintaining, most consumers are maintaining, is now to wait and watch and see how the economy goes, which way the economy goes. because as things stand, it's a very, very tough situation for most people. A lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of people have had to spend money in situations in places where they never expected to be because of the pandemic, because of COVID. Expenses towards health have gone up considerably. It's not an affordable disease at the end of the day. It's a very expensive situation to be in. So not only does it doesn't destroy you mentally, physically, but also financially. And a lot of buying decisions have been put off too much later. Now, once we come out of the second wave also and things ease off and restrictions are lifted off, we have a clearer idea of which way are consumers moving. Can manufacturers tap? There is nothing, in fact, right now for manufacturers to tap into. At this point in time, it's more a question of survival and the industry staying, holding together and riding out this wave. Businesses have been affected adversely. But I think in the next few months, we will have some amount of clarity as to what are consumers looking for, what are they aiming to get. But I think we will see a further rise in used car sales compared to people just going and purchasing new cars.
All right, but we have a very interesting question. One last one we have to take. Rajesh wants to know, with petrol reaching 100 rupees, now will it affect buying of vehicles?
It'll affect driving of vehicles. I mean, forget buying and whatever else is there. That's a later stage. At this point in time, people don't want to drive their own vehicles, given that petrol's reached 100 rupees per litre. I myself am cycling everywhere nowadays. So you're definitely going to see a lot more health. You're going to see a lot more healthier people. So in a way, it's good that petrol prices have gone up to rupees 100. But it's not just petrol and diesel prices going up. With fuel prices rising, it affects the economy at large because everything gets a lot more expensive. And like I just mentioned, a lot of people are in a bad way right now. So inflation is going to rise. That's for sure. Things are going to get a lot more expensive. People won't be able to afford the kind of thing. So yes, petrol. Reaching 100 rupees will definitely affect consumer buying patterns, what they choose for. They may no longer go in for newer products. They may choose to go into second-hand products. That's another reason why second-hand market might do stronger sales than just the new car market for that matter. And they may also buy smaller, more efficient cars. That's going to be a need of the hour. This could also probably be a good time where people would, start looking very eagerly at EVs and see if EVs are a solution to offset, IC engine cars. Now, this issue, for instance, in the May issue 2021, Tuhin has done a very interesting story on the cost of ownership of an EV. I think it's a story all of you all should read. We will have it up on the website by tomorrow. But it's a very interesting story, and it shows just what the price differential, where cost of ownership is concerned, between an electric and an IC engine or IC engine powered car. The answers will surprise you for sure. But there are definitely a few lessons to be learned here. And of course, one of them, of course, is that the cost of charging an EV is significantly lower than, putting 100 rupees worth of petrol into your car or your two-wheeler for that matter. But yes, do head to the website also tomorrow and read that story. It's another interesting story. And I think this is going to make a big difference. Petrol reaching 100 rupees is going to make a big difference in buying patterns, in driving patterns, and the way our economy is also going to go.
All right. We'll just take you through the news from this week. Let's start off with Mercedes-Benz. They've just launched the second generation of the GLA, starting at 42.10 lakh rupees for the petrol variant, going up to 43.7 lakh rupees for the diesel variant. These are introductory prices till June 30th, after which we expect a price hike of close to 1.5 lakh rupees. Highlights of this new GLA are the twin 10.25-inch screens for the infotainment and the instrument cluster, which feature Mercedes' MBUX system and the voice controls. Other notable features are Mercedes' Me suite of 43 connected car features that include live traffic updates, remote engine start except for the GLA 200, and Google or Alexa integration. There is also a powered tailgate panoramic sunroof, ambient lighting with 64 colors, wood or aluminium trim, dual zone automatic climate control, wireless charging, and Android Auto or Apple CarPlay integration. There are plenty of safety features, including driver assist system, 7 airbags, and this car is being offered with a 1.3-liter turbo petrol unit, which comes paired to a 7-speed DCT and the 2.2-liter diesel petrol paired to an 8-speed DCT. It can also be had with a 4-matic all-wheel drive system. Alongside the GLA, Mercedes-Benz India has also launched an AMG version of this new SUV priced at 57.30 lakh rupees, and it is the third AMG to be locally manufactured at Mercedes' Chakan facility. The Mercedes-AMG GLA 35 is powered by the same 2-liter AMG tuned turbo petrol as the A35 and puts out a similar 306 PS at 5,800 RPM and 400 Newton meters at 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. The GLA 35 can do 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.1 seconds and reach a limited 250 kilometers per hour top speed. The motor pairs with a specially tuned all-wheel drive system and an 8-speed DCT. The GLA 35 also rides on a specific AMG tuned suspension setup and adds a 12-speaker Burmester sound system, multi-beam LED headlamps, and keyless go function. Interiors of the AMG GLA 35 are done up in all black theme with red contrast stitching, highlighted with suede and gloss black. There is a flat bottom AMG steering wheel too, and the exterior is differentiated by the Pan Americana grille, new bumpers, 19-inch AMG wheels, and different twin exhaust arrangement at the rear. Moving on, Bentley has revealed a more driver-oriented version of its Bentayga SUV that can touch 100 kilometers per hour in 4.5 seconds at a top speed of 290 kilometers per hour. This version comes with the 48-volt electronic anti-roll system as standard and comes with sport drive mode, which leads to a 15% increase in air suspension damping, while ESC and air suspension have been tuned to improve steering response and turn-in as well as reduce body roll. Sporting a mode full exterior, the chrome is replaced by black finish. It gets a larger rear spoiler, larger 22-inch ceramic polished wheels, model-specific badging, all of which are finished in black. There is heavy use of Alcantara on the inside, and a new seat design features fluted pattern as well as S lettering. Prices haven't been announced yet, though expect a sizable premium over the standard Bentayga, which is priced over 4 crore rupees. Over to you, Rohit, for the motorcycle news.
So much, Sohini. So we'll begin the motorcycle news with another Triumph Bonneville that has come back. It's the Bobber. Why I say come back is because when we spoke to Triumph earlier, they were a little on the fence on whether they should bring back the Bobber to the Indian market or not. But finally, it is here, and it is marginally higher on the price tag. It's 11.75 lakh rupees ex-showroom now. Now, this model blends in all the previous generation Bobber's engineering with the Bobber Black's appearance and capabilities. It's powered by a 1200cc paddle twin motor with a 270-degree crank and puts out 78 PS of power and 106 Newton meters of torque. Now, the liquid-cooled engine, which now also complies with Euro 5 and BS6 emissions, of course, is mated to a 6-speed gearbox. The bike, as you can see in the imagery, also features 16-inch wire spoke wheels and the Brembo 2-piston calipers. This was something that was available on the Bobber Black. Now, the new Bobber also stays true to its minimalist styling, and that's the whole draw of this motorcycle. It features a 12-liter tank. It's got 47mm forks at the front, and that gives it that nice and beefy character despite that minimal styling. Now, ABS and switchable traction control are standard fitment on the new model, and it comes in different color schemes like the matte gray, the matte ironstone, and the Cordovan red. Now, that's all from Triumph. The next bit of news comes from KTM. A lot of you have probably already seen all the spy shots that are going around for the new RC390. And in fact, the bookings of the new RC200 and 390 have been unofficially opened by KTM. So if you are interested in getting yourself one of the first lot of the new motorcycles, you should get in touch with the KTM dealership close to you, depending on which city you are in. If it's open, if they're functional, they might take the booking for it. It is ranging anywhere between 1,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees, depending on which dealership you are speaking to. As for the cost, it is going to go up by a fair margin because we are expecting new equipment on the updated RCs. Like the new 390 Duke, we are expecting a quick shifter to come onto the RC, and I think that's going to make a lot of difference for all those of you who are going to take the RC to the racetrack or sport riding to the mountain roads or something like that. And finally, just the way we mentioned and gave you a quick glance right at the start of the show. The Ducati Multistrada 950S GP has been launched in the country. The main difference, of course, is the livery that you see. I think it looks quite good. It continues to use the same 937cc L-twin engine. It turns out about 111 PS of power and about 96 Newton meters of torque. Now, the transmission is a 6-speed gearbox, of course, which is mated to a quick shifter, and we've shown you in our review the quick shifter works quite well. Now, the bike tips the scales at about 230 kilos, which is on par with most of the competition like the Tiger 900 and the BMW F900 XR. In fact, we recently brought you a comparison of these two stories, and we've also had a full road test review of the 950S on the YouTube channel and on the website. So definitely do take a look. Now, the top spec model that this is the 950S. It has the full 5-inch full color display. We've seen that on the 950S already. There's the electronic suspension, which I've mentioned in my review that it is one of the best electronic suspensions out there right now in this particular category, and it even gives some of the more expensive motorcycles a run for their money. There's, of course, the Bosch anti-lock braking system and the Bosch IMU, and the motorcycle also comes with different riding modes like Sport, Touring, Urban, and Enduro. And you can also, while buying this motorcycle, specify alloy wheels or wire spoke wheels depending on where you're going to ride it. But as of now, there is still no Ducati Multistrada 950S Enduro variant that is available. But you just heard the man say that they're planning and trying to offer each and every variant of each and every motorcycle that is globally available. So for all you know, that variant might be made available in India very soon. Well, that's it from the motorcycle news. Back to you, producer, and back to you, Sohini.
All right. So before we dive into a few more questions, if you're in the market considering an entry-level luxury crossover, it's a tough choice. In the past few years, the space has become very busy, but it's hard to overlook the fun-to-drive Mini Countryman, which has been locally assembled in the country since 2018. For 2021, it comes with some fresh features. Simran Rastogi will tell you more.
Mini Cooper will always make the list of fun-to-drive cars under rupees 50 lakh, but it seems like we've forgotten about the Countryman. It's the Mini Cooper formula with 2 extra doors and a lot of added practicality. And for 2021, the Mini Cooper Countryman has a lot of added features. It's been facelifted. Does that make it relevant in a sea of these entry-level luxury crossovers? That's what we're going to tell you.
The new LED headlights with squared-off reflectors are less noticeable, but the grille is simpler now. The terrific-looking Union Jack detailing in the taillights is a dead giveaway for the new Countryman. On this variant with its JCW aerodynamic body kit, the front bumper isn't entirely new, having been offered on the pre-facelift car as well. But the rear bumper is all new with suitably sporty-looking twin tailpipes. The lightweight 18-inch wheels are from the JCW catalogue as well, and it's a classic that looks great in silver. The sage green paint job on this car is new as well, and it's pretty thick. Color shifting hues come across best in person. This JCW inspired variant does away with the classic analog instrumentation for a less cool digital panel, but one that's easier to read when you're driving. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite line up in the center of the steering wheel, and that makes it mildly annoying. The Countryman also now has wireless smartphone integration for the infotainment and a wireless charging pad under the armrest, which makes using the system as simple as it can get. The leather Chester upholstery is new and looks quite upmarket too, though the cushioning's on the firm side, as you'll soon realize on a longer drive. Mini hasn't messed with much else, so the quality of materials is still great. The 8.8-inch touchscreen is easy to use with great sound from the Harman Kardon audio setup, and while space at the rear is adequate for 4 adults, the panoramic sunroof adds to that feeling.
Two-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo petrol, the P48, in the Countryman carries over unchanged. But in this JCW-inspired variant, it's actually got a slightly quicker shifting gearbox than the standard car. It's It's still a 7-speed, it's still made by ZF, but it's the S or Sport variant that gets launch control, though as we'll see a little later, that doesn't really prove to be of great value. Even though the S mode on the gearbox is quite intuitive, taking manual control is just so much more satisfying.
It's not just artificially enhanced stereo sounds in the cabin either. The Countryman does have a nice soundtrack to it that gets deeper in sport mode with enough crackles on the overrun to suit a slightly more mature enthusiast buyer.
Countryman is probably one of the few cars where the drive modes make such a massive difference to how the car behaves. And in typical Mini fashion, the drive modes are Sport, Mid and Green. So even in the mid driving mode, you do get a fair amount of a nice induction roar and that engine sound coming into the cabin. So put your foot on and that sounds good. In the green mode, that's cut down even further. It's a lot more subdued. Your response is a lot more subdued. It really feels like the car doesn't want you to push the throttle down in green. That's a great thing. Attempting pulls in sport mode is easily the most satisfying thing. Oh yeah, the sound comes in nice and deep, and there's just a feeling of a little more directness in the steering that really brings you close to that classic Mini go-kart feeling.
Coming back to the launch control, it holds revs at a low 1500 RPM or so, making for a slightly underwhelming getaway. The figures, however, sit at the sporty end of the segment, though the Countryman's highway efficiency in the green mode was quite the surprise for this 2-litre engine.
Now you may take a while to get used to the brakes because they can feel a little grabby at the top of the pedal when you're just getting into the car. But once you get used to them, there's a lot of modulation that they offer you. You just have to kind of feather your touch a little bit. It's at low speeds that you really feel the firmness in the suspension setup of the Countryman. And that's something that's made just a little worse by the 18-inch wheels and low-profile rubber on this JCW-inspired model. It definitely gives you the feeling that the 17-inch wheels on the regular model with little more of a sidewall to the tire would actually help round off a little bit of the sharpness that this car has. On well-paved highways with these long sweeping corners thrown in, you really appreciate the Countryman for what it brings to the table. The steering really is very feelsome, and it gives you such a great feeling of solidity backed by that suspension that just soaks up everything, and you feel like you could drive all day long at high triple-digit speeds. The one thing that could potentially keep you from doing that is the fact that there's quite a bit of wind noise generated by those very stylish looking mirrors, and there's a little bit of road noise that actually creeps into the cabin. But if you have the audio system on, then that shouldn't be an issue. This car's got such great balance, and it's easily one of the best driving crossovers out there. And honestly, it feels like a jacked up hatchback, and the way that you can just flow the car into corners really has to be seen to be believed. That this 5-door Countryman that can seat 4 in comfort and has a good amount of cargo space drives so close to a 3-door Mini Cooper, and dare I say, snaps at the heels of something like the hardcore JCW in terms of driving pleasure, really is testament to just how good the Cooper S's powertrain is in the first place, and just how well the engineers have tuned the chassis and steering. Because when you get to a set of twisty roads, a lot of the Countryman's shortcomings just kind of fade away. This is definitely a car that's aimed at a petrol head, and it's something that really puts a smile on your face very quickly.
Though the jump from the standard Cooper S to the JCW inspired is around ₹4 lakh, it's well worth it. The Countryman's also now suitably spec'd to take on the likes of the new Mercedes-Benz GLA, the BMW X1, Volvo XC40 and Audi Q2, though it's a distinctly different flavor of crossover. And for someone who absolutely loves driving, I think it's a flavor worth buying into.
All right, we're back. And we've got a few interesting questions also going on, Sohini.
Yes, if you have any questions regarding the Mini Countryman also, you can just key them in, but we'll dive right into the questions again. But there's one here from Kiran Mani. His question to us is, is the EV push created by the government, industry experts and by media a mere behavioral shift attempt, so we consumers are prepped to adapt when the ICE downfall happens?
Well, I won't make it such a doom and gloom scenario, Kiran, but yes, there definitely is an EV push by the government, by experts, by the automotive industry as well, to some level. Not to the extent, at least from the automotive industry perspective, not to the extent that it should be. And that's also because of certain business interests. I mean, you can't just migrate immediately from an IC engine to an EV. You have to slowly step into this for that matter. But the government, of course, will be pushing EVs because there are larger reasons. The bigger picture out here is that we need to be a little more ecologically sensitive. So we need to change the way we drive and the kind of, the powertrain that we use. Simply because this has impacts on our environment, and the government gets affected by this because there are fallouts of this happening where a lot more money is spent into conserving environment otherwise. That's one part of it. Second is when energy, it opens up opportunities to create and generate energy, because energy will be consumed in a larger way, and energy is state subject, states of the central subject. That is income earned by the government as well. So there are a lot of reasons like this for EVs, to be pushed into the market, and for consumers, for the government wanting consumers to start picking up and using EVs. Now, are we prepped, or is the industry and the institutions prepped for this? Not entirely. We don't have the infrastructure to support EVs. If we don't have enough power, if EVs are put off, if we migrate to EVs overnight, we don't have enough power to charge our cars, to charge all of our cars, and two-wheelers as well. So there's going to be a lot of challenges, and that's why this is a phased manner that we are approaching this, and it will take us some time to migrate to EVs. I think this will take us at least another 10, if not longer, more years to achieve a situation where EVs are commonplace in the market, in consumer mindsets and in consumer homes. So it's going to be a phased journey, and this will see us taking some time.
Rohit, here's a question from Krutik Shah. He says he's on the healthy side. He's got lower back issues. So he sold his 150cc motorcycle and now he's looking for the Aprilia 125 or the 160. He's from Mumbai, and any other recommendations? His priority is comfort and safety.
Well, Krutik, I'm not very sure if you have a medical condition when you say you have lower back issues. I'm not sure if a scooter is such a great idea, very frankly. Because the suspension travel on a scooter is really not that great. So it may not really give you the kind of comfort that you're looking at. I would suggest you maybe look at something like an entry level, an adventure bike, even if you're not going to go adventure riding, purely because the suspension travel is a lot more. It gives you a better cushioning overall on our bad road conditions compared to a scooter as well. And maybe it's not something like an X-Pulse. The seat is just too narrow, but something like a Himalayan could actually be very comfortable. And should you decide to do longer commutes, or even if you are to push to do maybe intercity travels as well, I think you should be able to easily pull it off with an Himalayan. So I think the Himalayan would be a better choice overall, not one of the SXRs or any of the scooters for that matter, because all the scooters that you have in the market currently, they can give you a bone jarring ride sometimes if the road conditions are not that great. So if I were you, I would definitely pick up something like a Himalayan instead of going with a scooter. But if you have to go with a scooter, again, the SXR being a little bit on the sporty side, or any of the Aprilias being a little bit on the sporty side, they do have slightly stiffer suspension setup. So I won't really recommend either of those. Maybe you could look at something like an Activa or a TVS Jupiter. I think they would certainly be the more comfortable scooters compared to the SXR series. That is my verdict for you, but I would still urge you to get yourself something like a Himalayan. Maybe take a longish test ride, convince the dealer to do it, and you'll understand where I'm coming from.
All right, here's an interesting question from Achut Baladi. He wants to know when to use the fog light. If it is in fog, why are people using it along with headlights on a clear night? Please answer this because many of the people are not aware.
So I'll answer this again. We've already addressed this previously also in one of the earlier shows, but I'll talk about this again. And no manufacturer offers fog lights. Let's be very clear about that. They do not offer you fog lights. Fog lights operate with a particular light frequency, and of course they operate the best in foggy conditions. They're also always mounted very low down in the car, just so that they illuminate the road immediately ahead of you, because light throw cannot go too far ahead in foggy conditions. The fog, the vapor that's there in the air just blocks out light, and you will in fact get blinded by using headlights in foggy conditions, because you just can't see what's coming up ahead of you on the roads. That's why you need lights situated closer to the ground. Now, what every manufacturer for that matter in the country offers are driving lamps. And this is, of course, to illuminate not just the road ahead of you, but also to illuminate the shoulders and either the median or the white markings, the single band or the double band that runs along the center of the road. Well, that's what it's supposed to indicate. So you know which lane you are in exactly. If it is in a foggy situation, not necessarily in a foggy situation, but a dark night, you're driving on an unlit road, then that's what the driving lamp is supposed to indicate and convey. So manufacturers do not offer fog lamps anymore. These are driving lamps. And they don't really work extremely well in foggy conditions. For foggy conditions, you need a slightly different light source, which works for foggy conditions. Keep in mind, we used to have fog lamps once upon a time. Places like Rajasthan, Delhi, people still use and put fog lamps on their cars. You can see them with yellow halogen lamps, and they work on a particular frequency, and they're the best for illuminating the road ahead of you.
All right, we have a question here. Rohit, no, sorry, one sec. I'm not being able to click on the right one. Yeah, Rohit, there's one which called Sign Crusader 9 wants to know, can you suggest some good riding gear on the lowest price spectrum?
Let's put it this way. Earlier we were only talking about riding. When we spoke about riding gear, it was purely about just buying one protective jacket, protective pants, protective boots, helmet, gloves, basically covering you from head to toe in riding gear. But now if you look at the market more closely, thankfully the market is maturing, the bikers are maturing, they want riding gear that also goes with a particular motorcycle. So when we say riding gear, it's not just a protective pair of pants or gloves or jackets, it's also about what kind, what is the kind of environment that you're going to be riding on. So if you're still online, if you can quickly tell me what environment you're looking at riding the motorcycle, then I'll try to get you a more detailed answer. But to give a more generic answer to your generic question, I would suggest that there are multiple brands out there. Royal Enfield is doing some excellent stuff. Even if you don't ride a Royal Enfield, though, I think in your display picture it looks like you're riding a Royal Enfield. I may be wrong, but Royal Enfield is doing some really good stuff. They've recently tied up with Knox, which is one of the better known names in creating protective gear and also armor, and they've collaborated with them for some of their gear. That gear has been priced really well. And if you don't want Royal Enfield branded gear, then there are other players like Rhinox, Viterra, who are also doing some really good stuff. In fact, we've been using some Rhinox gears in our reviews, and we are quite impressed because we've been using these for quite some time now, and these also seem quite impressive. And right now, the way the current market situation is, a lot of these, the bigger brands, Alpine Stars, Revit, most of these now have distributors in the country, and they are offering some really good deals. But when you're choosing something to a particular price, also remember that just because you're getting a bigger brand at a lower price, maybe the price of a new Rhinox or a new Royal Enfield, make sure that you know what you're getting into and what year of manufacture that particular gear is. Because I see a lot of bikers, they do write into us saying, you know what, the Rhinox gear is for about 12,000 rupees, but I'm getting top of the line 30,000 rupee Alpine Stars jacket for maybe 12,000 rupees, and I'm here only using Alpine Stars. Just to give you an example, there are many brands like that out there which are well known but are being offered at closeout prices. Now, closeout means exactly that. This gear has probably been lying with the distributor or with the warehouse or with the shop for quite some time. It's been lying on the shelf for quite some time. It's not moved for them, and probably that is the reason why they're ready to take a hit and give you the gear at unbelievable prices. So, like they say with riding gear a lot of times, if it's if the pricing is unbelievable, possibly it is not right. Something's wrong. And that wrong could be just the simple fact that the gear's been lying on the shelf for too long, and it's probably outlived its utility. It may not protect you the way it should, especially with stuff like helmets. But yeah, again, to just draw attention back to what you asked, I think something like Rhinox should be really good. If you're talking about helmets, there are multiple brands again. HJC, MT, they're all doing some good stuff. Do take a look at what kind of CE rating they are offering. Sometimes a CE level 1 or level 2, may just purely mean that the protector or the armor is CE level 2, but the rest of the jacket or the rest of the pant or the rest of the helmet, it may not be to those standards. So make sure that you do your research very well, because there are a lot of brands out there who are claiming something else, and it's not entirely true, and it doesn't properly hold true for the entire product. It is only for certain parts of the product. So, like I said, if you're still online, let me know what kind of riding gear are you particularly looking at, in what sense, basically the terrain that you're going to be using it on. Is it a racetrack, dirt, road, purely street, highway, touring? Just let us know, and I'll try to help you in a more detailed manner.
All right, Bert, up next, here's a question from Vishrut. He says, recently McLaren announced that they are entering India. What do you think, considering the capabilities of a car with the Indian roads? Is it suitable for driving these vehicles on our roads?
No, Vishnu, it's great that McLaren is coming down to India. They've been, contemplating this for the last 3-4 years, in fact longer. But is it the best time to come down to India? I'm not entirely sure, but I guess this is something that the promoter who's bringing McLaren down to India has thought about. Are our conditions suitable for driving a car like the McLaren? Well, absolutely yes. Why not? I mean, we're already driving Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Bentleys and maybe some sports cars on Indian roads. So I don't see any problem where the McLaren is concerned. People will be perfectly comfortable. Those who own those cars will be driving it at urban limits, and unless they've got big, massive speed breakers outside their house that would kind of crush the underbody of the car, I don't see any issues with driving these cars on our roads.
All right. Rohit, has a question from Rajesh Khare. He says he's bought a 390 Adventure. Is it advisable to put extra LED lamps, or is it just fashionable, or is it essential? Rohit, are you with us? I think his network is.
But I'll just that question very quickly, Rajesh. It doesn't matter which motorcycle you are. Extra LED lamps will definitely give better illumination, especially if you're riding after dark. So yes, you can definitely put them. They're not fashion accessories, but use them, or rather, get into LED headlamps, into LED auxiliary lamps, only and only if you travel long distances, or you're heading on a road trip somewhere, and you do this consistently. Otherwise, it's honestly not. It's generally a waste of time and money. You shouldn't use them. But if you're the kind that really travels far and wide on your motorcycle, then it certainly is beneficial to get the auxiliary lamps on. There are some fantastic options out in the market. I think Denali makes some very, very good ones. They're expensive, but they're really powerful. They work extremely well. So yeah, go for it. Put those auxiliary lamps on. Otherwise, if you're not traveling and you're just using your motorcycle in urban areas, you don't require those additional lamps on.
All right, but who are our winners for today's show?
Okay, I think we've got. We definitely take 2 questions. Some of the better ones that we've got. Of course, the question from Kiran Pani and Achut Balaji also. I'm going to give both of you all, I'm going to name both of you all as winners. Kiran, for the question is the EV push created by the government, industry experts, and the media a mere behavioral shift attempt. So we consumers are prepared to adapt when the IC downfall happens. And of course, Achut Balaji is when to use the fog lights. Though this is something that's been asked in the past as well. But yes, it's a relevant question. It's a valid question, and you will require again. Keep in mind, we're coming up to the monsoon season. Temperatures will drop in several places. Some places still expect, they still get a lot of fog, especially hilly areas, and of course, a lot of rainfall as well. Sometimes there are misty, cloudy conditions, and fog lamps will help you. So those are the two winners. Do send us a mail at digitalshow@overdrive.co.in. So that we have your details and we're able to send you a subscription. You can start off a subscription, then you can start receiving the magazine. This month, unfortunately, because of various reasons, we were delayed with publishing our issue, but we're back on track, and the Overdrive the May 2021 issue is out now. We've got a fantastic cover. My bad, I should have actually brought you the cover onto this. Let me see, so you can put it up very quickly. I'm going to send her a picture and image of the cover. And we can definitely take a look at that. Soon as I just give me a moment.
Might be difficult, but we can put it up on our Instagram page, and everybody can take a look at what's coming up soon.
You could do that as well, of course.
Yes, guys, and before we wrap up, though, let's take a look at what's on tomorrow's television show. Well, we've got a review from Bert drives the diesel variant of the A-Class sedan, in the facelifted Mini Cooper Countryman, in case you missed that, and a lot more. Tune in tomorrow on CNBC TV 18, 1 p.m. or Sunday, 12:30 and 8 p.m. So that's it this week from us.
But Sohini, I could give you a very quick look at the cover. There you go. A second. I'm not sure if you can see this, but that's what's on our cover. We've got a drive in the Model 3, the Tesla Model 3. So all you Tesla fans will be discussing this the next week. That's what the cover looks like. You can definitely see it on our social media platforms as well. We've got some very interesting stories in this issue, and that is everything we've discussed. We've explained everything about the scrappage policy and what it means for consumers. We've also got electric vehicles, the real cost of ownership, a very interesting story. And yes, like you seen a few weeks ago, the Triumph. We've got the new Triumph as well, the Trident that's been reviewed and written in this issue. So lots of good content, and the next month we'll be on track again. So yes, looking forward to seeing you next weekend. Have a nice weekend, guys.
See you guys.